Welcome to A Photographer's Life, the channel that takes you behind the curtain into the world of professional architectural photography. Join us now for a special episode as AIAP member Lincoln Barbour introduces his revolutionary new photography app, Location Scouter Pro. Let's get started.
We're happy to welcome you this morning to this meeting of AIAP. I want to give a special welcome to Lincoln Barbour, who's going to be presenting information about his new app. We're excited to hear from him and what he's developed and some information about how we can use this new app. And so, Lincoln, I'm going to turn the time directly over to you and let you take it from here.
Thanks, Alan. Really appreciate you inviting me to this, and I'm happy to be a member for so many years. It's always been a really beneficial part to my marketing mix, and it's great that you do these meetings. So thank you for everything. I've kind of I had a wild hair a couple 5-10 years ago about an app for location scouting. I was scouting a job, and I was using a variety of different apps to get sun angles, and I was using notes, and I was writing things down, and I had all these different sort of like things I was bouncing back and forth. And I was like, I wish this was all in just one place. I wish I just had an app that had photos, had sun angles, and then could be organized. And at the time, it was just beyond my limited capabilities of coding to to actually create something. And so I kind of shelved it for a variety of years, for a number of years. And then recently, with the kind of AI vibe coding tools that have come along, I wanted to see if I could do it. And sure enough, I started off with just, kind of an idea. And so I wrote it out on a piece of paper and, kind of drew the user interface on a piece of paper with pencil. And then I took that and I made a wireframe in InDesign. So I had kind of more clear vision of what it was supposed to look like. And then I imported it into an AI tool and started coding it. And it was just wild to see how it could interpret what I wanted and actually make it functional. So that's kind of the backstory of how I did this. And so I'm an HTML programmer, from back in the day, web designer, but I've never been good with coding. And so this has been a huge learning experience, and I've learned a lot about coding in the last 4 or 5 months. So I find it's taken a while to get the app stable, and then also had to figure out how to get it into the app store and do all those things. So there's been a lot of hurdles that while in some ways it was easy, but there's also a lot of technical things that I wasn't expecting. And so it's been a kind of a cool journey. So with this, I kind of wanted to share two things, my journey of how to make this app, and then also what the app does. And then why I'm here showing it for you guys, because I designed this for myself, but since we're all in the same field, I figured that this is something that we could all use. And as I go along, if you guys have any questions or want to see some kind of feature, if I skip something too fast, just feel free to stop me, interrupt me. So the app's called Location Scouter Pro, and it's available on the App Store. It's only on the iPhones. It's not on the Google App Store yet. I'm still kind of working on that. But I have designed it to be cross-platform. I just have to build a different version of it to be on Google Store. So when you first pull up the app, and then there is a paywall to this. This part is free though, the home screen and the basic scouting camera is free. So when you first pull up the app, you're kind of given these different options. You have quick scout, new job, sun angles, and an open job. And then you have a little weather bug, which I wanted to have a quick way to get the sunrise and sunset for any location. So I just built this rise, golden hour, and golden hour start, and then also the weather forecast that you can kind of swipe through. So you can look up any location. And so currently it's 66 in New York. You can see the sunrise. You can you can change the date. So we can go, let's see, what is sunrise and sunset in New York on July 17th or 16th. So we've got rise at 5:39 a.m. and sunset at 8:26 p.m. And so one of the funny things when I was making this was that I set it so that it would give me the sunrise and sunset for my current location. But if I was looking in LA, it would give me the sunrise and sunset based on the East Coast time. So there's like all these little bugs I found along the way, and that was kind of made me laugh. And the reason the weather went disappeared is because you could only look at the forecast like a couple of days out. So I'll pull up the Scout camera. So this part again is free for any user. So on across the top, you have these different sort of toggles. The first one is a compass. So as you move around, it gives you your compass direction. So that way you always kind of know where your north is and your south is. And when you take a capture, it actually records the compass toggle that you have on. And then you can turn on sun paths and use a little slider where you can kind of see where the sun's going to be at a certain time of day. So if you wanted sun coming through this window, you could just say, okay, I need to be here at 6 to 11 a.m. And then, yeah, you could follow the sun path around, and see how it ends over there. And then so a lot of sun angle, sun path stuff have a lot of like lunar things, which I didn't really find to be that helpful. So this is really a simple, just sun path, direction. And a lot of times when I'm using the app, sometimes we're not actually needing to know I just need to know where the sun is for the angle that I'm taking a picture of. Then we have a crop. So if you're, need to shoot in like a square crop, you can put up a crop line, and that way you can kind of like previs your crop and like what you need to shoot for, like if you're using social media or something like that. There's also like 16:9, and so if you're shooting video, I'm going to rotate the camera. I don't know if this will, but yeah, so you can have like landscape mode. So if you're doing like a video scout, you can to go in landscape mode. And the last thing is like grid lines. So if you just want to go to what your rule of thirds are, for that.
Does that pretty much work the same way outside?
Yeah, it works. Today's kind of cloudy, so I can't line it up with the sun exactly.
Yeah,
but yeah, we can go outside real quick.
I mean, you're probably familiar with Sun Surveyor. Does it work a lot like that?
Yeah, it works a lot like Sun Surveyor. If anything, it's just a little bit more simpler than those. Again, because I wanted it just to be like, well, where is the sun going to be? When I'm photographing the front of this building. So like, I just wanted to make sure, I know where I am. And then turn these off. You could also, you can zoom out. So sunset's over there. So it just kind of depends on where you are. I'm kind of looking north right now, and that's where the compass rose actually I find to be the most helpful thing.
Yeah.
Looking back at the scouting photos.
Lincoln, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You're doing this in real time, so you're showing right now, but if you're scouting for a shoot that's going to be in 3 weeks, can you adjust it so that it's showing where the sun angle will be at that point in time?
Yeah, great question. So right now you can see this is today. So if I go to the settings, we can go forward to like July 15th, and now the sun path is moved slightly. So where it was, but let's go to like October or maybe December. That would be the solstice. The sun path is now way over there.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, depending on where you are in the world, and because it's based on your current location. But yeah, you can adjust it for any date that you need to.
And you can adjust the location too, right? So if I want to be in LA in 3 weeks, I can do that.
Yeah, but for the Scout camera, that's designed to be on location.
Yeah.
So I will like what you can do is you can pull up the sun map, and then so right now you can see this is my current location, and it has like where the sun's going to be, and then here you can look up different locations. So yeah, you can kind of pre-scout some stuff, and I'll get it to different some other features about importing photos. I've set it up so that clients can import photos, and then you can see where they took the photo, and then that way you can kind of pre-scout if you're not in the same town. But the AR stuff really only works at the location, unless right now. um,
Is this tied in with Google Maps? Is that how you do it?
um, it's tied in with actually with the native apps, so it's Apple Maps, and then on a Google phone it'll be Google Maps.
Yeah.
And then when you can set it so you can get driving directions, and it'll give you driving directions to where you need to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, after you, any other questions before I show you what happens after you scout?
Well, one
Okay.
thing that it strikes me, I mean, I use Sun Surveyor too, but I like, I mean, the fact of your app here, the fact that I don't have to change screens to see
Yeah.
sun angle and everything all in
Yeah,
one place. This just seems like a lot simpler interface.
exactly. Yeah, and I also wanted to keep it organized. So like normally when you're taking a scouting photo, and then you're looking at the sun angles, and then you're like taking screenshots, and it's all just getting
Yeah.
dumped in your camera roll. I've set this up so that you can actually keep everything organized. Um, and I'll show you the jobs feature after the markup feature. So another handy thing for this is, so say you've scouted a shot, you can pull up the photo into a previs, and now if maybe not so much with architecture, but it can't hurt. You can actually um, add markups and figure out where you want to put lighting and sort of kind of add different flags and fills. So if you wanted to like do a portrait in this room, you could kind of pre-visualize that, and then you can title it. So portrait, and then you can add notes like need coffee. And it gives you the location, and then it gives you the settings and your headings. So all that data is kind of all that metadata from the camera is saved. And now you can, when you go back to your gallery, you can see that it's all that stuff gets saved there. So this is helpful if you have an assistant and like you want them to get lighting before you get to the location. You can, if you've got all your scouting shots ready, you can send them, okay, here's where I want my light. Here's where I want, if you're doing video, like, here's our path to where the camera is going to move. And so let's have, different there. So you can kind of, I've kind of made it general for let's try to as many use cases as possible. For what I do most of the time with architecture, I don't add a lot of these markups. But this is if I was doing portraits or environmental stuff, like it would be really helpful to have this. And then you can also you can click on the GPS and it gives you directions to where you were. So yeah, it's the previs mode, and that's behind. So that's what you pay for. Like the Scout camera itself is free to use, and the sun map that you saw earlier, like that's all free with like just gotta put your email to log in. But if you want to do the markups and the job feature, which I think is the most powerful part of this this app, is that's the one you got to pay for. And the main reason I'm charging for it is because I'm hosting the images, and I'll show you how that works. So so these are just some test jobs that I've done. Here's an actual job that I scouted. So you can see when you go into a job, you've got the title, you've got the client name, the shoot start and end, your base camp, so your address of where you're doing your shoot, the aspect ratio, job type. And so all that's editable. And then you have your scout gallery. And so I haven't gone in and marked up this, but this is what I would call entry, and I would save that. And so I would go through and edit the scout gallery before I send it to the client. And so how you can send it to the client is you can just go down to the bottom once you finish your scout. You can export it as a link, as a PDF, or as a CSV. One of the things about scouting is that a lot of times I would have to like send photos to like an email, or trying to, like, especially if a client couldn't scout with me, I wanted to be able to show them what I was seeing, and then have like some sort of dialogue about the shots. And so when we open it into a browser, you can see it's got some branding, it's got the job, and then the client can then approve or reject the shot that I scouted. So I can approve this one, reject that one, and so that way they can have some feedback to you. And then when you go back to your app, you'll see, let me do a little refresh here. You'll see that it comes in as rejected or approved shots. So that's sort of the interactive part of it.
Lincoln, can that be, this will sound funny, but deactivated?
Yeah, you don't have to. It's
I mean, the accept and reject, and the reason why I say this, and this is before you got on, I rarely, if ever, get to scout anything,
Yeah.
and when I'm scouting, I mean, when I do scout, I'm shooting with my iPhone. I'm not shooting with my camera, so like I don't feel like when it's accepting a shot, it's what I'm going to do with my camera is going to be entirely different than what I'm going to do with my iPhone.
Yeah, I get that.
And so accepting rejecting is kind of a funny concept because I'm using a tool entirely different than the tool I'm going to use for the shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to send this to anybody. It can just be for your own personal reference. Or even just if you're sending it to like your assistant or your producer or something like that. So I haven't done it, but I could probably set up some permissions. What would you want to see? What would you want to share with the client?
I think if I'm going to scout, the whole idea of being able to share, it's funny because I am going to be scouting a project in a couple weeks, and but it's probably like the first project I've scouted in like 8 years. And so I am going to want to share images. So putting together this gallery is kind of nice. But like I said, I'd kind of like if there was the accept, reject functionality was something you could either turn on or turn off. Because I am going to want to, I'm there scouting. I am going to want to share stuff with the client, but
Right.
but not. It's just kind of like, hey, here's some things that I see. I mean, this is also part of the reason why I don't like scouting is because the tool I would scout with is not the tool I would use to do the work.
And also along with that, what about deleting these? Is there the ability just to delete these right away or at some point, or?
Yeah, you can. You can just delete a photo.
I'm just talking about deleting the scouting gallery. I wouldn't want these to live on. So
yeah, smart. It's definitely like it's like a temporary like URL. But I don't know if it ever. I think I could probably set it so that it like auto deletes after like a certain number of days. You can archive jobs. So I think once you archive a job, that probably would make it go away. That's probably I have to double check if I've enabled that, but that makes sense to me. So yeah, you can archive work. You can delete a job, or you can like this was just a demo job I was showing. But then yeah, you can delete a job, and that would delete the galleries and the photos and everything. But then you can also archive it, which would probably keep the photos, but then remove the website stuff.
Yeah, I'm just thinking there's probably once I started to shoot, I would probably not want the client to have access to the scouting photos anymore.
Yeah.
Just So there's
Yeah.
no second guessings, but
Yeah, makes sense. Well, yeah, so I'll just start a job so you guys can see how that all works. So it's just data, simple data entry. And again, try to make this quick and simple as possible. Um, and then shoot date will be today. Aspect ratio, again, that's, most of the time we're shooting 2:3, but, if you're shooting video, for example, you'd be 16:9. And then, can't remember the address here, but I'll just create the job right now. And then once you've loaded the job, you can then, start your scout camera and take photos, and then it loads them right into the scout gallery. And then you can look at it in a map view. And so as you're like walking around a building, you could get different vantage points. And so you can, you'll be able to tap on the icon and then load up that shot that you scouted.
and that pin moves with each photo. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm just going to delete these. I'll show you what it looks like when you import a job. So like this happens to me a lot because I have a lot of clients back in Portland. And so if I have them email me photos, I can actually import shots that they take, and then it'll load it into my scout gallery, and then I can then get the map of where they took the photos.
Huh.
And so that way, when I'm pre-scouting, so then I can I can pull up a sun map from that angle. I could pull up the sun map, and then I would know where they were, when they scouted those photos. And so that way I can get a good idea of the sun position at the different angles and then start building a schedule from there.
It's just reading the metadata from their photos then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The trick is they have to email the photo, not text it. Because sometimes when you text the photo, it can strip the metadata to make the photo smaller.
Okay.
So yeah, as long as they email it to you, that works. And then you can take a picture of the sun map. So that way it saves it to the gallery. There's a little red icon on the bottom left.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can add logistics. So if you need to and again, a lot of this is meant for sharing, or just for your own reference later on. Like there was the security guard's name is Bob, you can kind of put whatever you need to put in there, to like help you do better scouts. Yeah, I think that's the main part of it. Again, you don't have to create a job to use the scout camera. You can just, you load this up anytime you want. But on the free version, it just saves it to your camera roll. You don't get this gallery view where you can, and then the previs where you can add, talent and people, and lighting icons and stuff.
Can you show adding the sun angles to those that your client sent to you from like
yeah,
that park area?
Yep. So because I took the sun shot from my current location, that's why it's showing me two different spots on the map. But these are the ones I imported. And so you can see this is the map of where those shots were taken. And so if you tap on that, it gives you that view. And then if you go back, this is where that picture was taken.
But is it possible to then have that the
sun angle on top of
sun
it?
angle overlay onto that individual shot, like you did in the live view?
That's a good, not yet, but that's a really good suggestion. What I could do is I could probably, I got to think about that. But yeah, I haven't added that feature yet, but that's a really good suggestion.
Okay.
So you
I
probably,
can see that in the map view, that it's possible to visualize that anyway,
yeah.
but having an oblique view like that,
Mhm.
kind of another reference.
What I could do is like in this little thing, I could add a toggle overlay where it'd be like a sun overlay, and then it would base it on your date and that location, and
Mm.
then you could then drag it around. Yeah, that's a really good suggestion.
I mean, to me, that makes my head explode, but that's just because I don't understand any of what you've done, but
Yeah,
I mean, the logistics of how you did what you did, but
yeah, it's been a learning process for sure. Um, the sun map also, like if you just want the AR stuff and you don't really need to take a picture, you also have that option. So I put that in just so it would be there.
yeah, to me, being able to see that all in one place on one screen is really helpful.
Yeah. Uh, and then there's different. So for the sun map, you have different options. Like you can have text on the map, so if you need to know street names and things like that. Um, you can have all these different prompts to reset today. A lot of this I kind of borrowed from other sun apps.
Hmm.
24-hour clock, auto set time zone. You can save locations. And you can turn the compass off if you don't want that, compass displayed there.
The text on the map, is that something that you'd add text yourself then? Is that what you're saying?
You could. So right now, like, I'm trying to. So you can see how it's like the Sherman-Williams paint store shows up,
Oh,
and
okay.
then the names of the roads.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So then, if that's distracting, then you just get the buildings, get the raw data and the streets.
Okay.
So
So that's the stuff that's embedded in
mhm.
like Apple Maps then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Um, and then the last thing, so you can put your business info. So you can add your logo, business name, address, all your kind of social stuff. And that way, when you send your scout gallery to a client, you can actually, speaking of, I forgot to show this. If you want, you can also export a PDF. If you don't want to do a website, you just want to send the client like just a scouting report. Yeah, so here's the PDF that you get. So it puts your logo on there.
Okay. So
Yeah, I guess your sun angle. These are some tests that I did. So yeah, you can create PDFs. So if you don't want to send a website to a client, um, I think that was because I imported photos. That's why it didn't.
so on the website, does it have your logo information as well?
Mhm.
Okay. And does it watermark, or is there anything that brands each individual photo, or are they just
No,
okay?
that's a good. It's not a bad suggestion though. We could definitely add a watermark. But yeah, your logo, your company, your logo and your company name, phone number, and email is added to the website.
Yeah,
So yeah, so you see how the PDF shows up
I see.
with those scouting photos. Yeah. So that way, if you don't want to send a website, you don't worry about the approval reject. You just want
Hmm.
to show your clients like the angles you're thinking of, or if there's certain logistics that you need to have for each shot. You can include that in there. Like we need 4 people for this shot. We need 1 person for this shot. That kind of stuff.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it's been I initially launched this about a month and a half ago onto the App Store, and like the reason I didn't really promote it at the time was I thought everything was fixed, and then like I found myself in a situation where I was offline, and then the nothing worked, and I was like,
Uh,
I was like, that's not good if you're in a location without internet. So I had to
hmm.
like go in and redesign the architecture to be offline first, and then have online
Oh,
sync only when you actually get back to a location. So
I
um,
see.
yeah, so there's been some bugs, and it's version 1 of the software. It's gonna as time goes on, it's only gonna get better. But but initially, I think it's been like for me, it's been helpful just to keep my scouts organized.
Do you have any idea of when you're going to have the Android version done?
I'm going to start working on that next week. I wanted to get to like there was a couple like this offline bug was an issue, and so once I got that done, I was like, okay, now I'm ready to build that. So yeah, I will be working on that next week. It's good.
Oh, good.
The technical side of it is I have to like take the code and then put it into a different compiler to make the Android you know app file. And so it's actually the same code. It's just the compiling for it to run on Android is different than the compiling to run on an iPhone. So I don't have to redesign anything, which is nice, or have
Good.
separate code. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and so if you do want to try it out, there's a 7-day free trial, but I made a promo code for AIAP. So if you put in AIAP in the subscription, it gives you can try it out for a month for free.
Great. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, it's an amazing tool. And so we can find it in the App Store now. Any place else it's available? I mean, that's usually where people are going to go anyway. But
yeah, I mean, long term, I want to make this like have like a browser based functionality. So like you can pull up your Scout jobs in a browser, and then edit it. Because I find as I've gotten older, my eyesight's not as good, and I kind of hate working on my phone. So I eventually want to make
I don't understand what that is.
Yeah, I want to make a login so that people can go in and edit their scouts and make really good scouting reports. And also especially if you're hiring somebody to like scout a location for you, you can tell them to like use this app and then send me the report when it's done. So I'm hoping that it's kind of like not only for us as photographers, but also for people that we hire to like producers and assistants, to help us pre-visualize and shoot before we can get there.
Well, I mean, to me, it opens up a whole world of possibilities. Not just scouting for architecture and still photographers, but also scouting for any variety of film production and things like that, but also, scouting for events and all kinds of things like that. So I think you could roll out a lot of, kind of custom editions of it that would serve different markets. But yeah, pretty amazing product.
Thank you. Yeah, and if you all do download it, you have any suggestions or you find a bug or something doesn't work, there's you can just tap that and that'll send an email to me. And it's just me, so you'll get the guy making the stuff.
Well, this was a really ambitious undertaking. I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell us about this, or?
The price. It's $3.99 a month, and that includes unlimited hosting of the images that you export.
Okay.
And then, or you can do $39.99 a year. So you can get like basically 2 months off for a year.
Great.
So I wanted to make it, it's not like, in my mind, it's not a, $20, app kind of purchase, but because of the hosting of the images, like I have to pay for that out of my own bucket. And so, and also there's, the code and all that stuff. So that's why there's a subscription charge rather than like a one-time fee.
It sounds like it's a valuable tool, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Lincoln? Well, Lincoln, thank you for taking the time to share this with us. We'll send this out to the world.
Great. That'd be awesome.
Hopefully it'll come back, be a benefit to you. I appreciate you letting us know about it first. This has been an exciting opportunity for us to hear about this firsthand, and we wish you all the best on this.
Great.
And hope this goes well for you, and wish you for that success in the future on as things develop for you with this and whatever else you may have in the pipeline.
Awesome. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, I'll definitely guys keep you in the loop. I have other ideas for apps down the road. I just I wanted to get this one done. I wanted to figure out the Android thing to make sure that I can do it for both. And then, I have some other ideas for photographer apps down the road. So more to come.
It's pretty ambitious. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll leave it at that. And if anybody has any questions, please get in touch with Lincoln through the App Store, or Lincoln. Your website is and contact information if you want to share that.
Yeah, for the app stuff, I would go to studioremedy.com, and then that's got everything about the app is there, and also contact form if you need to reach out to me. But you can also email me at lincoln@lincolnbarbour.com.
Great. All right. Thanks again for sharing this with us. And
thank you, Alan. I appreciate it.
We'll look forward to meeting with everybody again next month. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
This has been another episode of A Photographer's Life. If you've enjoyed this program, please let us know by liking this episode and subscribing to this channel. A Photographer's Life is brought to you by the Association of Independent Architectural Photographers. This episode is copyrighted and may not be used in full or in part without the written permission of the AIAP. Please join us again soon for another inside look at the world of professional architectural photography.